Hello and welcome to another episode of LALIGA Talks. Today we have an interview with Sergi Canós, who gives us an update on how he's settling into La Liga, but also tells us how it is to play for his boyhood club. Make sure you subscribe for this interview and more interviews like this coming your way soon. So could you tell me a little bit about your journey? How did you get to where you are today? And feel free to start from the very beginning. As a youngster, were you always obsessed with football?
Yeah, I was. My mom always said that I was born with the ball on my feet, and I was always trying to play football everywhere I was, and yeah, it's a very I'm very lucky to be where I am today. But I think it's thanks to my family's work and my work also, because I left my home when I was 13 years old. We went to Barcelona, and from there we 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 became, we went to Liverpool. Then from Liverpool, I went to Brentford, and from Brentford to here.
Perfect. So you mentioned your parents there growing up, but they were one of your biggest influences on your career, you would say then, that they were very sort of passionate about you becoming a footballer?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I think my passion became their passion, so we made a really good team.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for telling us that. And there must have been some challenges, right, in making a professional footballer? I mean, it's something that millions of people want to do for a reason. It's a beautiful game. But could you tell us maybe something that stands out in your memory, something that was a challenge you had to overcome to make it to where you are today?
Well, there was one that when I started with Barca, I was 13 years old, as I mentioned before. I think 12 at that time, I think. And when I went to Barca, and after the first two trainings, I called my dad crying and asking him to come and pick me up, because I was not good enough to be with the players that I was, and he he never came to pick me up. So thanks to that, I think it was a very good one from him to let me, you know, uh, go with that, because I'm me as a maybe as me now as a dad, or I'm not that, but me thinking, if my son called me
Like a
crying,
dad. Yeah.
I go with my car wherever to pick him up, But
Yeah.
he stood up, and he knew that I had to overcome, that situation.
He had that vision. He saw your talent and
Yeah.
knew it was the best for you.
And not even to become a footballer. I think to become a man at that early age. I think if you don't face the bad situations and you don't overcome those situations, I think he always said that he was thinking more. He didn't want me at 13 years old to become a footballer. He wanted me to stay calm and overcome that situation, because I was good enough to be there.
What does a day-to-day in the life of Sergi Canós look like now? What do you get up to day to day? And tell us a little bit about, I know you've been training today, for example. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we come here, we have breakfast here, we then do a little bit of gym, a little bit with the physios, then we go out and train. We're training, I think, about 2 hours every day outside, and then we come in, we have a little bit more of gym, and then it's up to you if you wanna work again with the physios. It's a good day now, day to day here. There's a good weather after 10 years.
I bet the contrast is massive in the terms of weather and a few other things. But you mentioned there in the training, so there's parts of the session then, like afterwards, you said, where you come inside, where you can guide what you want to do extra with, maybe with your body, with the videos.
Yeah. I really like the the coaches, and I really like the sports science here because you can have a conversation with them with what you want to do, what you feel, because every day is different. You know, one day maybe you feel you are a little bit more stiff on your groin, or you don't want to do some exercises, then you do them not the same, but you do them with another type of exercises. Then I really like the combination that we have here with the coaches.
Let's move on to something else you said there as well about the contrast between England and Spain. I'm sure it's pretty massive. I know so myself. I'm here living in Spain, having lived in England my whole life, and I can see myself there's a lot of differences. Let's start in terms of maybe the football. What do you like most about La Liga, playing in such a great league?
Well, I was lucky enough to experience the Premier League, and I really enjoyed the Premier League because it's very, very quick, very intense in every action. Here is different. There is intensity, but not all the time. There is intensity in some actions, which makes another actions to be more technical, you know?
Yes.
If I explain it better. If I explain it well.
You have. I was about to say, having spoken to other footballers, journalists, that there always seems to be one key idea that maybe the somewhere like the Premier League, English football, is more intense for longer periods, but the Spanish football and La Liga maybe is more technical.
Yeah, some people say, oh, the La Liga is better or the Premier League is better. No, I don't like to say one is better or one is worse. I think it's different. That's the word, because
absolutely
very good players from Premier League maybe come here to La Liga and they don't find themselves, or very good players from La Liga, they go to Premier League and they don't find themselves. And I think it's different. It depends. It really depends on your type of football. And I was lucky, as I said, that I was 3 years in Barcelona, and then I went to Liverpool, and I probably would say I grew up in England, and my football is more that type of football. But because I was in Barca 3 years, I think I will enjoy a lot in La Liga.
Perfect. And we've mentioned the differences there. Were there sort of any experiences you gained, well, there must be, over so many years in England, what you feel that you can bring to your game in La Liga?
Well, the most difficult experiences, I think it was playing in Championship for 5 years. I think those 5 years made me the player that I am here, that I am today. I think it's not easy to play in Championship, and everyone that has played in Championship or knows how the Championship in England, the second division, is, they would agree with me. I think it's a very intense and difficult league to play, with a lot of games, with teams that are like they could play in Premier League perfectly, in my opinion. And those 5 years made me the player that I am today. And of course, the most difficult and at the same time enjoyable was the play at Wembley when we lost, and then the year after we came up to the Premier League.
Perfect. Obviously, Wembley is an incredible stadium. In terms of stadiums, have you got a favourite stadium you like to play at in Spain with La Liga?
Mestalla. Of course, if I could choose, I would play all the games in Mestalla.
So our listeners get to know more about you. Could you tell us a bit about life in Spain? What do you like most about life in Spain?
Well, it's very early to maybe say that, but I would say that I'm closer to my family. That is one of the most important things. I could say that I have my family 40 minutes away, and I can drive and see my grandma or my sister whenever I want. That it's unbelievable.
Perfect. And talking about sort of the differences between the two countries here, let's talk about food. I mean, what are you going for, Sergi? Are you going for fish and chips, or are you going for a nice paella?
No, I would go for paella. But the fish and chips, I like the fish and chips also. I want to say.
There's nothing wrong with fish and chips. That's that's for sure.
Everyone says, oh, fish and chips. Oh, but I've been to some places that fish and chips is really good.
And is there a food that stood out for you in your time for England? What would you usually eat? Maybe like to treat yourself, like a cheat meal almost.
Well, here in Spain.
In England. So with we know Spain has fantastic food. You can eat just about anything in Spain, but in England, what was your go-to?
In England, to be fair, there are some really good restaurants in England that you could. I mean, I've been in London, and now I think there are really good restaurants that you can go and treat yourself. But yeah, maybe paella, because there are a lot of Spanish restaurants in London. Go for some Italian food that I really like also.
Could you tell us a little bit about Valencia as a city?
Well, the city is amazing. I think it has everything that you can ask. I think you have the sea, you have the city center that it's amazing, historic, and what I really like is the river and the part with the garden in the middle of the city that
it's beautiful.
You see so many things. I don't know, Valencia, in my opinion, brings happiness, and I think it's a happy city.
Absolutely. So it's somewhere you'd recommend for family, friends alike to visit.
Definitely.
Yeah, I agree. By the way, I've been a few times myself, and it's a wonderful city. Listeners, if you're looking for somewhere to go, honestly, you could do a lot worse than Valencia. Perfect. So, Sergi, you've obviously made some stunning achievements already. We know some of the clubs you've played for. We've gone through them there. But is there something else you yet want to achieve? I mean, it can be football or non-football related, but you tell me, is there something you've still got in mind that you're still driving for there, other than, of course, all the aspects of everyday training, trying to be the best you possibly can be on the field? Is there anything else you've got going on?
Well, I have a lot of things in my head that I want to achieve. There are a lot of things that they are, I think, in my opinion, they are closer to what I think, and but now I'm only focusing in, as you said, every day. I want to enjoy football. I want to play every weekend. I want to be an important player for Valencia. I want to play as much as I can, as much as possible, and I only want to focus in that, because after that, big things will come.
Absolutely. I'm sure that's such a great mindset. Well, thank you ever so much, Sergi. Just one more question for you here. Have you any advice? We spoke earlier about how you made it as a footballer, as well as anyone, how tough it can be. Have you any advice for youngsters who might be looking to make it as professional footballers? Is there something, a standout piece of advice you could give?
Well, in my opinion, it's not under your control that you make it or not. And I think, as I said before, every day is important, and as much as you enjoy football, because football is beautiful, as much as you can play, when you have the opportunity to play, to train, when you are not injured, when you when the coach gives you the opportunity to play or gives you the opportunity to train. I think those moments, I would say, enjoy them, because not everyone can enjoy football how we enjoy it. A lot of people enjoy football from outside, from the stands, from home, watching in the TV. But we are so lucky to be where we are, and the youngsters that have the opportunity to play and to enjoy football. I think that is the main reason. Because when I was young, you know, a lot of players, a lot of kids. Oh, we want to play in the first team. We want no, like you don't focus in now. You focus in what's gonna happen in the future. You focus in now and you enjoy now. Then the future will come. And I think that
Perfect.
is what I would say, and what I say to the youngsters, because we have a lot of youngsters in our team.
Perfect. Well, that's some fine words there. Thank you so much. Well, listeners, I hope you're listening to that. We got some fine advice there. Well, thank you so much,
No
again,
problem.
Sergi. It's
Thank
been an
you.
absolute pleasure.